Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to JD Who Codes. My name is Jonathan Diaz, but my friends call me JD. This is going to be episode 2 of the installments. The first episode, I showed y'all some of the very early projects I was working on with the Odin Project. A nice little website, self-paced kind of web bootcamp. And we went through like some horrific looking code. And now we're going to move on to some of the stuff that the bigger projects I worked on that I got more out of with the Odin project, and stuff that I felt really showcased how far I had progressed once I did them. It was great. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool. These projects were completed back around 16, 17, around that time span. And so at that point I had progressed with my Ruby skills, at least to a sufficient level to where I could build something more complex. And you're going to see that. So we're going to go through my Ruby chess game. It's a command prompt game, and I should be able to still run it. We'll see how that goes. It's really old. And then after that, I'll show you my full stack application. It's a blog service, fully has authentication. You can sign up as a user. You can even post on there on comments under the blogs, and I'll showcase that. It's called the Hamiltonian, and I'll go over it in a little bit more detail. So without wasting much more time, let's get into it. All right, now let's take a look here. Welcome. And so we're going to look at the chess game first. I was really proud of this game. We'll look at a few pieces, and then also the board itself. So here we go, chess RB. Yeah, and so the way basically this code works is we have a visual representation of our board right here. Each piece on the board, each square on the board corresponds to this hash. I believe that's what they call it. I haven't worked with Ruby in a while. And so you have these are actually symbols, I believe. No, they're hashes. And so you have C1, D1, D2, right? So numbered this way, and then letters this way. And then you have the black side, white side. And then so here's the actual where we place the units. And so each unit is actually an object. And each new object, it gets placed where it has the corresponding spot where it's placed, and its team color. So we have that for everybody set up here correctly. I haven't looked at this code in a while, so it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to actually read this, so I did write all this. So display board, this is what actually is displayed on the command prompt. Obviously, it's appropriately named display board. Real creative. And so each index. So we're just looping through everything here. That piece display. Piece display is what's actually going to show on the unit. Roll array. Lord Jesus, I think one of the cool things about coding is when you go back and you look at stuff you wrote before, and you're like, how did I write all this? Did I actually write this? And it's a mind fuck. There's no other way to put it. And so what you have here, main menu, this is the instructions that come up, say play, start, and this is the starting board. This is what actually starts the game. And so the way it works is you have your clause statements here, and you select which unit on the board you want to move. The board determines if that unit is valid, if it's in play. And once it is, it allows you to go to end spot. It invokes this next function, and then you decide where that piece is going to go. This determines if where you're trying to place the piece is a valid move, whether it be a kill, like a takedown, or just moving to another spot on the board. And so here's how you start the game right here. This is invoking it. This is chess, so we'll look at a piece here. A pawn's pretty simple. Oh man, I don't know how I wrote all this. This took me like probably a month. I was still working full time, so this was just on my spare time, and I built all these pieces. So we have here allowed moves. Here's our piece display, so that's what gives it the look. You'll see that in a second when I run the game. Set up piece to where. This indicates where it's going to go. Lord, how did I do all this? It's so crazy. Okay, yeah. And so right here you have regular move. And so this is invoked from chess up here, I believe, end spot. If the spot you're moving the piece to has another piece there. This determines whether or not that move is valid. If it's its own player, if it's its own team's piece, it's not going to kill it. So it'll give you an error message. Likewise, if you're trying to move a pawn across the board to take out a black bishop, it can't do it because it's outside the rules, the scope of movement that the pawn has. And so this determines, this is regular move. This will, if the piece is empty, if the spot you're trying to move the piece is empty, this function's invoked. Otherwise, it is kill move, and kill move determines whether or not it's a valid kill. Vice versa. So this is one of the simpler moves I have here, pieces I have here. Excuse me, I lost my. I'm trying to look at this. I'm still trying to read and parse this together. This is just. I haven't looked at this thing in years. And then we have here the queen. I do remember the one thing about the queen being kind of ridiculous was it needs a serious refactor, and I mean a serious one. This is like 400 lines of code, and it's basically checking every single it's checking each of these else statements, checks wherever you're trying to move the piece based upon where the queen is. So if you're trying to move the queen can move anywhere in a given direction. It can move up, down. We can say north, south, west, east, and then northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast. And so it's each else statement in here for regular move and kill move checks whichever direction the queen is trying to go. And so, like I said, this could definitely use a major refactor. I never really got back to it, so I was pretty happy with the way it came out. I was just happy it worked. I couldn't believe I made a chess game. It was so cool. Make sure to speed this along here. The best part was the knight. I remember feeling distinctly accomplished because the knight, moves in an L shape anywhere on the board, and I remember distinctly being able to figure that out for every possibility, and I was really, really proud of it. As you can see here, it's only 70 lines of code, not too shabby. So the way I did it was we did a test, determined for these particular pieces, hey, is it possible? If it is possible, then invoke the kill move. Same thing with regular move test. That's what it looked like I did. Let's go ahead and run the game. Let's see. We're in the right. Yeah. All right. Here are the instructions. Let me move this to the center here. Look at that. Awesome. All right, and then let's just do play. And there we have our chessboard in pieces. So this is white and this is black. And so let's try to do something illegal. So we'll do A1, which is a black rook. All right. We'll try another. Okay. Let's do H1. There we go. All right, let's try to move H1 to H4. But error. There is a piece in the front. You can't do that because H1 is here and there is a pawn in front. Okay. Let's go ahead and move. We'll do H2 to H3. And there you see the pawn's been moved there. And so I didn't, let's see here. Let's do another one. Let's do the white piece. So we'll do A7 to A6. Oh, we didn't like it. What happened, buddy? Oh, why did it clear? That's so weird. Let's see. We got a blueprint in the making. Oh, there's no. Oh, I already moved it. I was looking at A, but I thought I was moving H, but I typed in A. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's move H3 to H4. Money. Okay, and then we'll do. We're gonna try to take out a piece, just to show you what happens when we do that. So we'll do A6 to A5. That's right. It clears every time because I was getting tired of it. You've seen it everywhere. Okay, and then we'll do. Now we'll move the rook H1 to H3. Okay, there it is. Look at that, cool. And then we'll do A5 to A4. Cool. Let's see, just for the sake of continuity, I mean, just for the sake of time, I'm gonna move, there you go. We'll do H4 to H3. Oh wait, I did that. That was wrong. See, I tried to kill a piece when I wasn't allowed to. H4 to H5. That's what. H5. Cool. And then we'll do A4 to A3. And then we'll use the rook to kill that pawn here. You see here. So do H3 to A3. Right here. Black rook takes white pawn. Later. Pwned. Yeah, so this was a really fun project. I was really happy the way it came out. Like I said, it needs a major refactor, but it has all the elements. It works just fine. I was really happy with what I did with it. So this was my first, major step, I felt like, with programming, and where I really felt accomplished. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next project, which was my full stack application that I built. Let me go ahead and exit this. It's Control D. There we go. And then, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and start showing you my full stack application. I built this, so I kind of followed a template when it came to building this application, and I did have a scaffolding sort of command when I built the skeleton of the application, but I ended up ripping a lot of stuff out, putting stuff in. This thing was just sort of the culmination of everything put together, and it was a gigantic pain in the butt as far as I can remember. It was frustrating because I worked on this thing entirely by myself, with just the internet to guide me and the snarky comments from people on Stack Overflow, who's for the most part supportive, but when you first get there, they just seem like a bunch of dicks. I'll be honest with you. Some of them were really pain in the butt. Like, you didn't indent enough. Dude, help me with my question. Why are you doing this? Anyway, and so I'll show you the website, and it's fully deployed via Heroku. I believe I started working on this November, December, finished around January, February, and then deployed it around March. And started writing articles and stuff around that time. I think that's what I did. And so here is the Hamiltonian. Here's the directory. What's really cool is looking at this thing, just like my Ruby program, I don't know where anything is at. It's been a couple years since I've seen this, and it's just a mess. I'm very familiar with Node, mainly React way of doing things, and looking at sort of Ruby on Rails, looking at Django when I was going through with Python not too long ago, you start to notice why React is as popular as it is, why it's as popular as it is, and what it really does for you, and why it's really powerful. And that's really cool. Because you look at these, and they're essentially monoliths, is the correct term. I believe the term they used to describe these. And so we're looking at this. So we had a comments, we had posts. This is our model. This verifies everything being submitted. And then we had users. The way the application was structured, it's I didn't even describe what it is. Okay, so Trump was about to be elected. I'm a political person through and through. I am. And so the website was just supposed to be a vlog propounding my ideas. Anybody else, any other publishers who might want to propound and send those ideas out, contribute as well. It's based around I'm sort of, when it comes to politics, sort of take the Hamiltonian view of what the state should be and what policies should be. And so I was really enamored with Hamilton and his writings. And so that's what the application is based on. Well, at least my political thoughts that were going to be on there. That's why it's called the Hamiltonian. That out of the way. So users can comment, but they can't post because it's supposed to be a cadre of like-minded folks blogging. But you can write comments on these blogs. So we have here the schema, the models to verify the data, doing that, and the controllers that send the data through where they got to go. It's just like looking back on it now, just like with the Ruby game, it's so hard to see and understand what's going on. Yeah, sorry. I was playing with the thing there. I'm not doing another take. It's like my fifth take, just doing it. And so we have our sessions controllers. We have our users controller. It has authentication. It has users, posts, comments. We have that many to all relationships, all that going around. Here's the database. Here's my migrations. I remember migrations so long ago. We have our and all that. And so it was really cool to do this. It was really fun. It was a pain in the butt. Looking at it now, I'm like, how the heck did I do this? Just like with the Ruby game, I don't know how I navigated this kind of this. It's not even that complex compared to other stuff that's out there. I know it, but just looking at it, it's like, holy heck! How I had nothing better to do during that season, I guess, and I was kind of super motivated to get this done. And so, yeah, let me show you the website. It actually, here I am. I'm logged in. I made a comment. Here's the actual web page. This is jQuery. I was still using jQuery back then. I know a lot of folks don't care for it. I don't either. Not anymore. We have our about section, who we are, what we're about. Blog archive shows all the blogs that have been written. Contributors, that's myself. Let me log out. Logged out successfully. Cool. Let me click on, look at that. This image, okay, so cool story about this image. When you make a blog post, you have to include an image. It won't let you do it otherwise. You have to do an image as like a headliner. And so I was like, how do you host this on there? And I Googled around, and that's when I first got introduced to AWS. And I was like, oh, if you want to introduce the image, if you want to do this, you can do it easily with AWS. And that's when I first got involved with AWS. So these images are hosted on there. When you submit your blog post, image gets stored on AWS. My application has nothing to do with it. And then when you click on the post or the blog post, it sends that request back to AWS S3 is the service I use, and sends it back through. And that's what you see here. It was really fun to get that done. I was looking for that bit of code earlier in here. I don't know where the heck I put it. It's just this is just me showcasing some of my older stuff. I can't sit here for a few hours. Less time nowadays, but I can't sit here for the next few hours and try to figure out exactly how I did everything stitched together. But I did. And so, yeah, this is the Hamiltonian. Yeah, and so those capped off my experience with Odin and the Odin Academy Online. From there, I got really much more confident with building these applications. I applied to a few jobs, had some interviews. Nothing really took. From there, I kept, just doing coding challenges, playing around with Ruby, a little bit of JS here and there. At that point, that's when I felt Node kind of just erupted on the scene. It just took everything by storm. Next thing I knew, everybody wanted to know Node, Angular. I forgot the other technology that was out there. Now it's React, but Angular was really big back then. Oh, we had what else did I see? It's Angular. There was a couple other ones I kept seeing everywhere. I was like, holy crap, what's going on? It felt like a revolution was happening when it came to web development. Angular, they escape me. You'll probably know if you're watching this, having interest in this. You probably can tell. Not XML. I can't remember at the top of my head. That's fine. And so that's when I kind of got into Node. A year or so later after this is when I started my Node projects, and I started learning React and Meteor principally. Excuse me. And then from there, I kind of branched off. So that stuff, that's my next episode. I'm going to show you the stuff I worked on with my knowledge from Udemy and self-taught and other things that I learned that were self-taught. And we go from there, and I'll show you those projects. There's like 5 or 6 little full-stack applications I made with those technologies that I thought were pretty cool. And so that'll be on the next episode. So thanks for watching.